And I can't believe Shadow Band Scouting's film review. He didn't say anything bad. He didn't do anything wrong in that video. Straight up, just taken down for no reason.
Yeah, that's because the powers that be have taken over this YouTube thing. I mean, you have like Mile High Huddle all of a sudden gets these 10K views. Rich Eisen doesn't even get that much. All of a sudden, out of the blue, I mean, we were all getting about the same views, and all of a sudden, after the ownership group took it over, the whole YouTube, what you call it, the backbone of the YouTube is completely different for these guys.
Yep.
These pop-up channels that read scripts, they're getting all these views, and you're like scratching your head, what? You know?
Yeah.
Now, well, we do know that, you know, this is a bot world, and those that can afford the bots pay the bots, you know, get the subs and everything else under the sun. Bought and paid for, excuse me. So what we have here today, ladies and gentlemen, is the Mile High Masterminds. We have the Bubble Man, we got Bucket Man, and we got Chop Liver here. You know, finally together, this should these detractors, their heads, you know, boom, boom, will explode. So, you know, we're trying to make sense of this latest splash move by the Denver Broncos. Bribing, let's just call a spade what it is. Bribing, because nobody else would pay it, you know, as much that the Broncos paid to bring in Sean Payton and what that is going to mean down the road. So, Bubble Man, I'm going to let you pick up where we were talking. You know, you can start this, kick it all off.
Yeah, well, Sean Payton.
Excuse me.
I mean, if you look at Sean Payton's last like 3 quarterbacks in recent memory, you have Trevor Siemian, Bridgewater, and Breeze, and then now he's switching to Russell Wilson. I mean, because there's clearly very huge similarities between Russell Wilson and Teddy Bridgewater. You know, you saw last year Russell Wilson getting rid of the ball very quickly, you know, hitting his checkdowns when they're open, being able to combat the horrible offensive line. Sorry, I got a cat in here.
Oh no, another cat! No.
Oh man, they might call the pet people on me because I'm giving the wrong opinion on the Broncos. But yeah, Russell Wilson is very similar to Teddy Bridgewater all last year, getting rid of the ball very quick, bad offensive line, always taking his checkdowns, wide open checkdowns. He's always quick to take what the defense gives him, just like Simeon and Teddy Bridgewater. Not really, because
that's sarcasm. That's called sarcasm.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's exactly what you're going to get next year. Russell Wilson's going to turn from a one-read play-action quarterback who thrives when the run game is dominating, which Pete Carroll runs the ball more than he throws the ball. Then he builds off the play action, which is why he was so successful, because if you're a one-read quarterback and you have a dominant run game, they think you're running the ball and they leave someone wide open. And that's exactly what he thrived off of in Seattle. And that's exactly what the Broncos didn't do under Nathaniel Hackett. And they're not going to do under Sean Payton. The running backs that they have in Denver now don't even fit what Sean Payton wants to do in the first place. Javonte Williams isn't going to be catching anything out of the backfield. He's not going to be running any routes. No one's scared of Javonte Williams running any routes and catching passes. Latavius Murray, him either. Marlon Mack is probably the best option you'd have there. But, I mean, you had 4 running backs that fit a system, and then now you bring in Sean Payton, change the whole system again, make these players learn a brand new system again. And that's why nobody wants to be there, is because there's no stick-to-itness. There's no routine. Next year, like, all right, what's our new offense going to be? What's our new defense going to be next year? Because they already know they're not going to have the same coaching staff every year. And with Sean Payton, I don't think you're going to see Russell Wilson and Sean Payton getting the blame. You're going to hear, we need a new offensive coordinator. We need a new defensive coordinator. If we just get a defensive coordinator, we're going to be back in it next year. Because when they're sitting at 3-7 next year by week 10, they're going to have all the excuses ready to go. And they're going to say, oh, it's the offensive coordinator's fault. Oh, it's the defensive coordinator's fault. And that's going to be the next thing. We'll just be an offensive and defensive coordinator away. No accountability for the front office, same results, and fans being like, do you have anything positive to say about the team? Why would I say something positive when this team has been losing for like 6 years straight?
And refuses to actually create the way we see all the teams that where they are right now, the 2 Super Bowl teams. Do you think that they ran out with their hair on fire and got Mahomes? No. Didn't they first, let me just correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they, the ownership and the GM go and get Andy Reid? Andy Reid comes and it's like, we're going to set a certain style of football. We're going to be a certain personality, offensive and defensive. And didn't the front office people in the scouting department say, okay, we'll scout your defense and we'll scout your offensive players that stick to your system. Isn't that how they did it? And then they started developing, as they went, getting Alex Smith, then finally building the team around that and then moving on. Am I not correct about all that?
That's exactly what happened.
Isn't that the opposite of what we see? The philosophy of the trust is at Denver. Now it seems like the new ownership is taking that, splashy move identity. Don't blame us. We didn't do anything wrong. It's the quarterback's fault. It's the coaches. It's everybody's fault but our fault. Did the ownership just take ownership of that philosophy?
Yep, they did, and they were just as good, in my opinion, under Alex Smith. As they didn't skip a beat. They got a little better with that mobility. But even with Alex Smith, they were always a threat to Peyton Manning and the Broncos. They were always right there. It was always coming down to the end of the year. The Broncos they were a Jamal Charles fumble away from losing the division. So the Chiefs have always been right there ever since they got Andy Reid, Mahomes or no Mahomes. And that's what a great coach is. That's what commitment gets you. That's what committing to your young quarterback. And when they got smacked around by the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, what did they go and do in that offseason? They went, fix the offensive line.
Well, obvious. Yeah, it was obvious. Yep.
And they're back here now. And maybe we'll see what the Bengals want to do. I imagine that they're going to let T. Higgins walk and build their offensive line because that's what's costed them both Super Bowls last year and this year. And that's what I would hope to see. We'll see what kind of organization the Bengals are, but that's obvious. That's the obvious answer. You don't pay the receiver, you pay the offensive line, which is the engine that makes the offense move. And if you don't have an offensive line, you don't have an offense. Broncos haven't had an offensive line since the end of 2014.
Nor do they want one.
Nor have they wanted one. I mean, the only thing they've done, like Garrett Bowles, he's horrible. He sucks, And I was watching, what was his name, Colin Cowherd. He was saying, yeah, this is a great choice for Sean Payton. They have a great left tackle. They have great defense, great running backs, great receivers. I'm like, a great left tackle. I was like, I honestly like the way the offensive line performed better without Bowles than with Bowles because there wasn't any holding penalties.
I got something to say about Bowles just really quick. Even our opinions about him off to the side, the extent of his injury, I think, if they put him back out there too early, I think that you can't even make an excuse for his bad. I think it's just he's going to re-injure that. He's going to be out. I think he's going to be another hot tub time machine if they bring him back too early. Because I think the extent of that injury, I think right now, 1 year is just getting yourself so you can work out. And then you need another year of working out and trying to get yourself back in the foot. That looked almost like, to me, a 2-year type of an injury. Footwork,
And he's not even good to wait around for him to come back in 2 years. Not even close. I mean,
exactly.
This guy I believe they extended him too. And I'm like, well, all these players that you spend all this money on, what have you gotten out of it? You could show me the stats that say you can make stats out of anything in the NFL, out of anything to spin the team into looking better. It really is. At the end of the day, the only stat that matters is wins and losses. And the Broncos have not been winning games for the last 6 years in a row since 2016.
But they're just a coach away. They were just that away. They were just this away and the other thing away.
Just back away, got the quarterback. What happened?
That's the shame in my opinion. That's the shame in all of this, in my opinion. I think that had, I don't know, Pat Bowlen or whatever got rid of that trust stench, and we had the Bridgewater. Maybe Fangio says, look, you don't have to play John Elway's game of, pretending you're the head coach. You can actually be a defensive coordinator. We're going to bring Sean Payton in. We got all this draft capital. We've got Bridgewater, who fits, what they've worked with each other, and we can go out and we can really start shaping this the way. And we have people that can, on the front office that can go out and scout and get what Sean Payton needs. That's the crime here, in my opinion. You don't have that. You put, as always, the cart in front of the Bronco horse, every single time. And to me, and I said this in the last video I did with the bucket man, is that it seems they painted themselves in a corner, and Sean Payton has this sandbox, and he can't go out of that sandbox and really get the player personnel he needs to really take this team to the next level.
Yep, exactly. And he's even if he even outlasts this Russell Wilson contract, which is going to restrict them from signing free agents, he's on a 5-year deal, and so is Russell Wilson. So that by the time Russell Wilson's out and they don't have this contract, so is Sean Payton. So they're going to be starting over anyway. So if your solution to the problem was to bring in a coach who doesn't fit Russell Wilson style at all, he doesn't run the ball 52% of the time in every game. He doesn't thrive off the play action. He wants a quarterback who can read the field before he snaps the ball, read the field quickly while he's just dropping back 3 to 5 steps. And that's not what Russell Wilson does. That's not his game. And he's going to have to change his whole coaching identity to fit one player. I mean, it's obvious he just took it for the money. I mean, if he wasn't getting paid this, we wouldn't be even having this conversation right now. It took a $20 million a year bribe for 5 years.
Well, you should feel vindicated. You were getting into it with that Bronco insider. Oh, they're not bribed. This money isn't being talked about. Oh, no. You're crazy. It's one of those conspiracy theories. So what comes out? He's going to be the highest paid coach in the NFL. And so everything that was saying was 100% accurate.
He was never their guy. Dan Quinn was never their guy. And then when DeMeco Ryans straight up said, it was easy not to pick the Broncos. Oh, DeMeco Ryans is never their guy. And then when
they surely were going to offer him that kind of money. It was either Harbaugh or it was Sean Payton with that kind of money.
Sean Payton, they went after 3 times. They went after him 3 times. It's like he already said no twice. At some point, it's harassment.
Exactly. I say that exactly. And I knew that it had been the Saints holding it up, and they were smart to do like what Seattle did. Dig their heels and said, no, you're the one that's desperate. We're not desperate. You're the one desperate. Your hair is on fire. Like always, if you really want this guy, this is what you're going to give up for him. Period. End of story. And Sean Payton basically said exactly that when he was interviewed in Denver about the process. He said, well, this is unusual because New Orleans definitely needed to get compensated. And I don't think that there was ever a rift between the Saints and Sean Payton. I think it was clear that, hey, we can't give you this kind of money. It was clear that if I keep in this rebuild process, I'm not going to have the record. All of a sudden, I'm going to have this bad record. And people will say, well, it was just because of Breeze. So he gets out smartly. Give him credit. He got out and sat and said, well, I want to get paid. He said that as soon as he got out, I want to get paid. So that was always in his wheelhouse, wanting to get paid. And I just want to say one thing, too, about what you were saying about quarterbacks. We hear this, Sean Payton, he changed it for Winston. He changed it for Bridgewater. He changed it for Simeon, right? Well, what you just said it yourself. What is the common thread between all of those quarterbacks? They are all the anti-Wilson. They all are similar pocket quarterbacks. Okay, they're not the when we did film study, we saw that Wilson actually, when he had as much as they were complaining about the offensive line for the Seattle Seahawks, it was a step up of what he had in Denver. He was still able to get higher percent passes in the pocket than when he tried to scramble. But and even with that, he still didn't go through the reads. He was still pretty much a one read. And again, the Seattle fans were bemoaning. He does seem to want to go for the deep ball for the stats or whatever the motivation is. He seems to want to do that first and do the latter, the easier passes, the more smart, shorter passes, after the fact.
It's as obvious as it can be that he's only in it for his own image. He gets his own office at the headquarters. What that has to do with winning games, I don't know. Why your quarterback needs his own office, I don't know. But the Broncos entertain that. Private parking spaces at the stadium, why you need that, I don't know. It just sets a bad stench to the rest of the teammates that this guy has favoritism over all of us.
Well, I think that's been Broncos' wheelhouse for a while. We had a player go on what's his face's show, the Cody Rourke, and he was saying that that's been a problem. We got Justin Simmons, who isn't that good, getting these Walter Payton awards for being a great guy off the field, and he's a great personality in front of a microphone, and he gets preferential treatment as you take over somebody like Stearns, who can actually play the position. That's been is Payton going to be able to break that culture? Is he going to liquidate some of these players who've been pampered by the trust?
That's up to the ownership in the front office, and them bringing in Sean Payton, who doesn't fit anything the Broncos have player personnel wise, is just like what the trust did. So I expect them to do just like what the trust did. You're going to have to work with Justin Simmons. You're going to have to pay Draymond Jones and deal with it. You're going to pick the players we want to pick, not the players you want to pick, not the players who will help this team win. So that means no first round next year. So in the second round next year, maybe, or in the third round next year, whenever their first pick is, edge rusher again, just like last year, Nick Bonito, absolutely terrible pick who contributed nothing. When they finally had a first round pick, number 9th overall, they select Patrick Surtain. Good corner, but not what they needed. Not going to help you win. Not going to help you fix the actual issue. I was saying that they're like, nah, you need a great corner is the cornerstone to every great franchise. Well, okay, we'll see when we're not winning games next year, but we have a good corner though. Like that makes no sense.
That's is from the inside out. We see that with the 2 Super Bowl teams that are here. We've gone through the whole. It's not about Patrick Mahomes. It's beyond that. We see it all the time, but this ownership, this trust, refuses to do what everybody that's got it right. It's quick fixes, edges, corners, receivers, quarterback, everything else just has to be good enough.
And for their obsession with receivers, their receivers suck. Their receivers are
exactly. They're so public as the greatest show on turf, Torrey Holt and super duper Clayton, all that. They're not. Rod Smith, they're none of that. None of that. They're not even Metcalf.
They're not Metcalf. I mean, I miss the days of Demaryius Thomas, big physical, fast receivers, Eric Deckers. I miss the Emmanuel Sanders, the Eddie Royals, Brandon Lloyds. The Broncos have always had solid receivers, and now they have Cortland Sutton, who sucks.
Regress. Contract. Regress.
He did that entire season last year, but then they still extend him. Tim Patrick, at best, he's a number 2, number 3 option. Overpay him.
Yeah.
And
that was before the new coach came to say, wait a minute. Oh, that's right. As we predicted before even the thing said, he was just a yes man. He was never like Fangio. He was never had any input on the offense.
The GM doesn't have input on anything. So why would the head
coach? That's obvious. If nobody gets anything, if they don't get that now, they've been sleeping. They've been hiding under a rock. And there's no GM.
Yeah, the Sean Payton thing's going to blow up in their face next year because Sean Payton took this job not to make a winning franchise, but to make the money to retire off of $100 million to retire, live his life. I mean, when they fire him, he'll probably be rejoicing because he won't even have to go to work. They'll still be paying him. So, I mean,
you can't say no to that, can you? I couldn't say no to that.
I don't blame him. $100 million to show up, like that's all he has to do.
On the surface, we don't even know what's under the table.
Yep, what they're offering him as far as benefits, like I don't know. I don't know until the ownership shows me otherwise that they're going to give him control and give him say, which I don't see because it was a trust move to hire him in the first place. They're going to do the trust move to not let him do anything that he would want to do in the first place anyway.
Well, I would think that he would have to do things that's not normal around here. to get the ship right. And he said himself, and he must have said it 9 times. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of, we got a long way to go. I mean, all this, like, saying over and over, this isn't going to be easy. He must have said that 5 times, and he kept saying details.
At least he's saying the right thing, but it's a matter of time before they are like, hey, don't be saying that on camera. Don't be saying stuff like that. You better be promising them Super Bowls, better be promising them playoff trips, better be. I mean, even Colin Cowherd, did he not learn last year when he said that the Broncos were going to be in the Super Bowl?
That snake bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's being slipped cash by the Broncos organization for sure, and I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of seeing the same thing from the media every year when we signed Keenum. The Broncos are going to replicate the success of the Minnesota Vikings, even though he's in a system that is not like Pat Shurmur's system.
Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about that. Yeah, nobody wants to talk about that. And you guys weren't around, but I mean, I went through this with the Raiders. Just watching as a Bronco fan. It was the same thing. It was the media overhyping the Raiders. Oh my God, this is it. They got that piece. They're going to be the favorites now. They're going to be doing this. And they just like the Broncos. They didn't do jack shit. And it just got to the point where you couldn't pay the media enough to look like a bunch of dumbasses anymore. They just threw their hands up and said, the Raiders are the Raiders, and that's the road we're heading down. I was just like, is this going to be another coach that the Broncos kill? They're already stuck and not that Russell Wilson didn't have a hand in it, but they, stuck a dagger right in Russell Wilson's chest. He's like on life support. So
Nathaniel's reputation is completely ruined because of what happened in Denver. I mean, when Nathaniel Hackett got here, this was before the trade of Russell Wilson. I'm sure had the trade happened before the head coach was hired, I'm sure he would have said no.
Oh yeah. Before the trade, that this was. Oh, he probably got promised Aaron Rodgers. Well, if we get you, we'll definitely have Aaron Rodgers. He'll come. Well, Aaron Rodgers wasn't stupid.
Aaron Rodgers said no like many times during the season, during that little hype session of we're gonna get Aaron Rodgers by March. He was already saying no publicly, and the Broncos media is like, no, we're still gonna get him. I mean, even when the people themselves come out and say, no, I'm not going to Denver media is still like, oh, they're still coming here. Like, as if it didn't happen.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't think that Russell Wilson actually thought that Seattle would actually trade him. I think I was talking, like I said, with the Saints insider. We were talking about this. He's like a deer in the head, like, oh, shit, they did it. Because this organization is desperate. We're going to fleece him. And who wants to go and you're putting it out there that you're not happy, you got what you want. Now you go and you don't have to worry. And they pay. Okay, that part of the deal, Russell's, we're going to pay you. And guess what? Seattle's going to fleece you on top of it. So you see how that worked out.
Yep.
Now that's the thing. That's the sandbox, along with the crap player personnel that Sean Payton is stuck working with.
Yep, and no ways to fix it because they gave their ability to fix it away to get those 2 people. So,
well, even if they did have it, I'm just wondering if there's anybody in the front office that has a clue. Scout. Well, that's what that's where I really want to see the rubber meet the road with Sean Payton. Are you going to get all that trust stench out of their scouting, Elway the consultant, all that nonsense, and get people like Ireland, like Loomis? And again, I mean, those guys put a leash on Sean Payton and say, look, we got to build this, we got to get from the inside out before we can, you got to stop with all the toys. Got themselves in trouble with salary cap and stuff like this. And he's going to a place where they're already in trouble with the salary cap. So I think he would have been better off had New Orleans been able to pay him or was willing to pay him. I think he would have been fine. He got paid and he could start working. And that's all fine. But the Dolphins weren't going to give him that much, nobody was going to pay Sean Payton but the Denver Broncos as much as he was going to get. They were out trying to outpace everybody in the bribe. That's why I called it bribe, because nobody was going to, give everything that the Broncos gave for that Sean Payton pick.
Yep. And he doesn't even fit the system that they need to run to benefit Russell Wilson.
It never made any sense. Now, again, like I said, what pisses me off isn't so much that they got paid Payton, in that it's not just that. It's that they got him at this point in time. Instead of what it would have made much more sense is back in time when we had Bridgewater and all the draft capital and everything else. That would have made a whole hell of a lot more sense.
But they wanted Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, that's why you'd even want Aaron Rodgers, the price you'd have had to pay and the time he has left on his career. I don't know.
It's called desperation. It's called desperation.
They want to repeat what happened with Peyton Manning, but you don't have the roster in place.
Well, again, let's go take a trip down. People just don't like history, and let's take a look at where the Broncos were and where the steps they took to the time they got Peyton Manning. There was a building process going on. It started with Josh McDaniels, who at least with Pat Bowlen, they at least said, "Look, we got to get these lines. And they picked all those linemen and stuff." And then we worked out from there. We built out. And then we go get Sean Payton, the defensive players. We have Wade Phillips being brought in over, Elway getting trumped by Pat Bowlen. Said, no, you're not going to go get Vance Joseph. You got to go with Wade Phillips. So these pieces came together. It wasn't just Peyton Manning. And that's what people just want. They don't want to think. They just want to see the flash. They just want to see the easy answer. It's much more complex. Same with Peyton. His situation in New Orleans was much more complex than just him waving a magic wand around. But people don't want to talk about that.
No, because coaches and quarterbacks, next it'll be coordinators. I mean, the list goes. It's a quarterback-driven league is what it was last year. Now this year it's a quarterback and head coach-driven league. Next year it's going to be, it's a quarterback-driven, head coach-driven, offensive coordinator-driven league. And then, it's a defense. Yeah, so, I mean.
Creating the narrative so they can make the next desperate move.
Edgerow's running for the Hills, which is hilarious. He wants to interview for defensive coordinator jobs elsewhere. He doesn't even want to be back in Denver as defensive coordinator.
I wonder why. Don't you look into that. Don't you dare look into that.
I mean,
right. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, Bucket Man, give us your 2 cents.
Okay, well, I agree with everything you guys said. Number one, I don't believe anybody in their mother's salt or whatever doesn't know
their mother's basement.
Yeah, the mother's basement like we are today. They don't understand the true aspects of football. I'm going to sit here and tell it like it is. I don't think people in today's society and also in today's NFL, there's a few people here and there, but in today's society, they don't know the true aspects of schematics and how player personnel matters. They think that, like you guys said, grabbing a quarterback, coach, etc., they don't understand the building process. They don't understand the rebuilding process. You have the Detroit Lions who clearly have an identity, who are clearly better than the Denver Broncos are right now. And when I have to hear all this bullshit narrative crap out there where they're saying, Sean Payton ran a West Coast system. You guys don't understand the schematics of this whole thing. He runs a multi-power run system with spread concepts. I did a film review on that. You can even go to the All-22, and they have film on this. Even you can go back to Drew Brees playing it.
Well, let me ask you this. What, again, when they say, he did a whole complete revamp for this quarterback, that quarterback, what's the common thread between all those quarterbacks? He supposedly reinvented the wheel. What is the one common thread?
Common thread is they have the same skill set. That's the common
pocket quarterback.
Common thread is that they fit his scheme. They fit the identity that he wants. You think, ladies and gentlemen, then why did you bring in Sean Payton if you want to run a West Coast zone running scheme, and now you're going to put a head coach into a system that he is not familiar with, and he never ran it. And also, he did not come from the Bill Walsh tree. He came from the Bill Parcells tree. That's another lie that they're putting out there. Again, if you want the truth, you come to the Mile High Masterminds. I mean, we get this 99% right. So I don't want to hear anybody's bullshit on we're going to run a West Coast zone running scheme. The Sean Payton schematics is a power gap system layered with spread concepts. You need to have power gap guards. You need to have powered offensive linemen. Okay, you think that the Chiefs got to the Super Bowl because of Patrick Mahomes? You two were just basically talking about it. They had a rebuilding process throughout the whole entire operation. They had a system and an identity in place for going on 10 years, a decade with Andy Reid there. Okay, they built the offensive line. They have a system. They put Patrick Mahomes in that system. Let him develop under Alex Smith. Learn from Alex Smith for a year. Then they off.
Well,
Okay?
that's what they had to do in New Orleans too. They had to do exactly the same thing.
Exactly. I just don't think people are into fantasy football. They're into this quarterback obsessed bullshit. They don't understand the true aspects of rebuilding a team. They don't know the true aspects of what schematics are to help the strengths of players. And in terms of, you have to put players in positions that help them succeed, that fit a certain system. You have, guys like Javonte Williams, as the Bubble Man talks about. He fits the scheme in a way if you're going to run a lot of I formation in the power run scheme. But like you said, you need more of your Alvin Kamara's. You need that 1-2 punch.
You never heard anybody talk about that.
No, because they don't know. They don't understand it. That's the problem. They don't get it. They think that, we're bringing in Sean Payton. Oh, it's going to revolutionize the whole entire business, just like Russell Wilson, right? And we went 5-11, 5-12, whatever.
I'm waving my magic wand around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So are we going to go through another fucking offseason with Austin Warriors?
Beanie.
Yeah. Are we going to go through another offseason for 7 to 8 years straight here, talking about how great this team is? Then we're going to get to the season. They're nowhere to be found. This team sucks with the player personnel. And then next offseason, we're going to go get an offensive defense coordinator, like the Bubble Man says, and we're going to hype it up again. And you're going to have the offseason Warriors. You're going to have Broncos Avenue, Locked On Broncos, all these bullshit con artists that spew the bullshit. You like to bring up stats. You have to have context with stats.
Yeah,
stats, context.
Of extreme importance. Yeah.
At the end of the day, when you're talking about the Sean Payton system, the player personnel is exactly right. He ran a 4-3 system in New Orleans. He ran a multi-power run scheme with spread concepts. He had better player personnel there, and people don't give credit to Jeff Ireland and Mickey Loomis for rebuilding the offense and defensive lines.
Well, they don't give any credit to the ownership of the Kansas City Chiefs, the scouting department, the GM there that built all that mountain that Mahomes stands upon.
Well, people here don't even give credit to Pat Bullen. That's how sad it is.
I know, exactly. Great point. Great point.
They blame Bullen for the succession plan he had with the trust. They're blaming Pat Bullen for putting LA and Ellis there. That's the narrative, not thanking him for all those winning seasons, all the Super Bowl championships, all the Super Bowl appearances. More Super Bowl appearances and losing seasons. They're blaming him for the reason that the front office today is the way that it is. So,
yeah, don't blame the trust, whatever you do. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, exactly.
From the trust themselves, it's Bullen's fault. He put us here.
Well, yeah, because they have never been held accountable. And that's why they put the media machine. Everybody, it's weird. What do you mean weird? It's not weird. Elway's a PR guy, always was a PR guy. He understands that. Okay. What you do is you put this PR machine in front of everybody saying that A+ move. When is one time that any of these platforms are going to hold them accountable like they hold the Rockies, like they hold the Nuggets, like they hold the Avalanche accountable at the front office? It's always an A+ move. They're all monolithically saying the same thing. They dare not say anything to get that check cut. I guess they won't get their check. They won't get their box office seat, their parking pass at the stadium. No, it doesn't work that way with the Broncos. It only works that way with the Rockies, Avalanche, and the Nuggets. But never say anything about the front office. That's what they did. So everything they do is an A+ move. Don't blame them. Can't be their fault. It's everybody else's fault but theirs.
Yeah. How dare you blame the front office? Let's just blame the coaches and the players, and who brought in the players, who brought in the coaches, the front office.
Exactly.
this is the problem with a lot of people in today's society as well. They're so dumbed down because they watch those platforms. They don't have critical thinking skills. They can't think for themselves outside of a few people here and there. And then they just come up with these false narratives. Oh my God, Peyton is going to, cater the system around Russell Wilson. Then why the fuck did you bring him in? You
Well,
don't have a player.
That they'll tell you that's why. Even though it doesn't in any way remotely reflect his system, like the other quarterbacks that they had, they all reflected his system. They had and these were tweaks. These weren't total revamps, by the way. They were tweaks.
They don't get it. They don't get schematics. They don't get film. Ladies and gentlemen, scouts watch film, coaches watch film, GMs, assistant GMs, they all watch film for a reason. I mean, they watch it to critique themselves, to critique the players at the systems that they are in, and to get like the draft capital. They get players in the draft that help fit their scheme. There's a perfect example out there of a guy like a Rashawn Slater. He fits what the Chargers want to do. I wanted Rashawn Slater because he fit the zone running scheme. He's an agile offensive tackle. And he's a better technical sound tackle than our very own Garrett Holds, who is just an absolute disaster on the field. He sucks. And here's another thing. Why would we bring Mike Munchak back? He does not fit the power run scheme.
No, that's not.
Offensive line.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Bring in a 3-4 system.
It's
Sean Payton wants to run in 4. That's what he wanted to run in the Saints. When we talked to the Saints insider, he likes to run a 4-3 system. So you're going to tell me that Draymond Jones is doing that Aaron Donald shit? Broncos out. You got to be kidding me.
That's them selling the front office. When they start talking nonsense like that, you never hear that with the Rockies. You never hear it with the Avalanche, and you never hear about it with the Nuggets. It's always A+ moves, A+ players. There's nothing wrong with these players at all, but they don't say that for only the Broncos.
Because they wouldn't get to interview the players and interview Benjamin Albright. Benjamin Albright and the players wouldn't dare to come on here because we'd be telling them how it is, and they wouldn't like it. And we also don't get paid by
that's the point. That's the takeaway. They need to know if Sean Payton's going to go in there and tell them, like we would tell them, the front office, you got to liquidate these people. They're not that good in the system, and they're taking up cap space. We got to start liquidating. And also, do you think that Payton can talk Russell Wilson into restructuring, or should he restructure his contract? What do you think about that?
Restructuring his contract. The guy is 100% in it for himself. Players from the Seattle Seahawks, Richard Sherman himself is on the record of saying this stuff. He only cares about his image, how he's perceived by the public. That's why he has his own office in Denver for whatever.
Well, that's why he fits. That's why he fits with this front office so well, because that's all this front office cares about is how their image is. That's why they're running out with their hair on fire, just making one bad signing and splash move after another.
And you could talk about, we have all this hard work to do. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett and Vance Joseph and Vic Fangio and George Payton in their intro press conferences said all this stuff that we've been talking about, and then what happened? It falls flat on their face every fucking time.
They're told, no.
I am sick and tired of this 8 years of bullshit. I just, man, I'm going to be waiting another 10 to 12 months from now. Oh my God, we gotta revolutionize offensive coordinator coming from the Dallas Cowboys or whoever, and he's gonna come and revolutionize this offense, and then it just will fall flat on its face.
It may even be from the Saints.
Well, but from the Saints or whatever, and then it's gonna fall flat on its face because you do not have the player personnel that fit what Sean Payton wants to do offensively. I mean, you basically brought in Sean Payton to basically hype up the fan base again, just like Russell Wilson. You brought him in so you could just, give him the highest paid head coaching contract so he can have a retirement plan like the Bubble Man says. I mean, this is an absolute clusterfuck, and this organization is just in the wilderness, not knowing what the fuck it's doing.
I want to go head to head here. Sean Payton and Harbaugh head to head here.
Okay.
The Broncos media came out with the short and the long positives of Sean Payton. I think Harbaugh, if you're comparing the two, you take a step down in X's and O's on game day. I think you take a step down, but I think you get a step up when it comes to actually developing the team, the identity, the core. And the reason I say that is because with Sean Payton had to be told that to have a leash on him and that you have to stop getting the offensive toys. We got to start building from the ground. The builders were Ireland and Loomis, where I think Harbaugh can lead that charge for building. It's almost like Harbaugh's kind of the John Ralston kind of hire, where he can bring in the Tombstone Jacksons, the Tommy Jacksons, the Gradishars. He's the guy that can do all that, where I don't think Payton is the guy to bring in players. I think he needs that help. But when you get those players on the field, the ones that he needs, then he can really scheme up the game plan. I think that's the difference between those. What would have been the difference between those two hires?
Well, again, you hit on something key, and I do not want you to forget that. You need to have somebody up there that has the same vision with Harbaugh. You need an Adam Peters. You need an Ireland. You need a Mickey Loomis. You need guys like that. If Jim Harbaugh came here, I think he still would have had the same struggles that Payton's going to have. I mean, because you don't have
he would need to have backing.
Yeah. You don't have an identity from the organization from the top down. That isn't what the great organizations have, like the Eagles, like the Bills, like the Chiefs. Teams like that are top tier teams in this league. They have an identity. They have a family culture. They know what they want in players. They get players that fit their system, and then they roll with them and they develop them properly. The Denver Broncos don't have that. They feed out the media machine telling me how great Justin Simmons is. I do film reviews. They get taken down from them tube, and then he has to come out on Mile High Huddle and tell me how great his accolades are, right? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this organization is nowhere close to the player personnel that you have. And when you guys finally open your eyes and look at the film, then you'll understand what we're talking about. But continue to watch the highlight reels. Continue your fantasy football, and continue every offseason telling me how great this team is. And then come 10 to 12 months from now, I will wait to hear from you again, and we'll continue this all over again.
So, Bubble Man, me and the Bucket Man were talking about this, and I want to get your take on it. At the end of the day, this is where me and the Bucket Man think the mindset is at Denver. The mindset isn't to build a Kansas City Chief team. The mindset isn't to do what the Eagles did at all. What the mindset here at the Dove Valley is right now, that is to make when at the end of the day, it to be a Jeff Fisher run. That we have a coach that could maybe get the best out of these players at the sandbox. And maybe that equates at best a 9-winning season. And it's if all the dominoes fall right, so they can sit there and say, hey, we're just we're just one season away. You'll see. But it's hypothetical again, whether or not they'll achieve that. But I'm saying that they got a coach who probably can get more out of course, it depends on whether Wilson can, get his head out of his ass, get it where, whatever he can do with Wilson. I guess that's going to be a big part of this, but just say best case scenario, because I don't think that some of these teams, a lot of these teams the Broncos played, they're all that much better. So maybe he gets, 7-8 wins, and it's like, next season you'll see we're on the up. And to me, that's all they give a shit about. It's not Pat Bowlen who's into championships. They're playing the game like they're in it. But at the end of the day, I think all they really honestly care about is that it's like Jeff Fisher, got 9 wins. Look at this, man. Why God, we're going to go to next year. It's the Super Bowl. They can blow that horn all they want. Well, what's your take on that thought?
I think that they'd be happy to have 9 wins, but I think it's just a bunch of yes men for Elway and Ellis who don't know how to build a football team, who don't know how to, win. They see the last year's Super Bowl champion. We're going to copy them. All right, let's do that. And then the next year they're like, okay, let's copy this team. Oh, next year let's copy that team.
But they're really not copying them. They think they are. They do these on the surface stuff, but they're not really emulating them.
Like with the Chiefs, the Broncos had a good thing with Scangarello. That guy brought out the best in Brandon Allen. He brought out the best in Cortland Sutton. He brought out the best in Drew Lock, Noah Fant. All those receivers, he brought out the best in all of them. And then they fire them next year trying to copy the Chiefs offense.
They wanted to copy, yes, absolutely.
Copy that offense from that year because they lost Tyreek Hill. So now they're playing more of a take what the defense gives you. So they're adapting with the talent that they have. Something the Broncos wouldn't know about. I mean, Cortland Sutton, slow, doesn't get open, never gets separation. If he finally does, drops the ball. KJ Hamler's the only one on the team who can get separation, but he's injured all the time. Jerry Jeudy showed some things at the end in 2 games out of 3 years of not doing anything. So, in my opinion, yeah, you play a Kansas City team who didn't play, of course you'll look good. You got corners slipping on the field last game of the year, of course you're going to look good. How about you do that in games that matter? How about you do that in games where the team is trying, where teams have something to play for? Because I don't see it. I've seen 3 years of nothing from Jerry Jeudy, 3 years of drop passes, off the field issues, drama off the field on social media, and nothing on the football field. But Broncos Avenue says he's the best receiver in the NFL. Yeah, okay. I mean, show me the film because CeeDee Lamb is better. Not even in the same discussion. Justin Jefferson's not even close to being in the same discussion.
Do you know that Bucket Man? That's the guy he wanted us to get. He didn't want to get. He wanted to offensive line.
Because I watch film. I watch the All 22, and we do it too. We watch the All 22, and I just want to respond to Bubble Man here. Again, Kansas City's been running the same offense for years. So when you get players that can adapt to that system, then it's going to look like it has been. I mean, my God. I mean, they went out and got the offensive lineman, or I've brought this up so many times. Orlando Brown, Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, right tackle, Andrew Wiley.
It took one season.
Yep. They have guys that they paid and developed before they gave Mahomes the $500 million contract. That was just absurd. I would never pay a quarterback $500 million. That is me. But this is why my draft picks get removed from ThemeTube. That's why my channels get removed, because they fear my work. They do not like my work. And then you'll have these people come up and start their, trolling bullshit. But again, when you film and you look at the schematics and you look at the feet work, you look at the technique work, you look at everything, then you can base an opinion off of it. And then that's what scouts do. They base that, and then they want, is this guy going to fit a 4-3 system? Is this guy going to fit a 3-tech and a 3-4 system? Is this guy going to be a good off-ball linebacker in a 4-3? Is this guy going to be a good, zone runner in a zone running scheme? That's how these scouts and coaches base their opinion when they're scouting players. And at the end of the day, the Denver Broncos don't know how to do that. They think they do, but they don't.
No.
Elway and the scouts. I mean, there is no scouts. They have people at positions who don't get to do their jobs. So
I wholeheartedly agree with that, because the mindset is quick fixes, band-aids. It used to be yesterday.
They have scouts.
Broncos just came out today and they said that the reason they won the Super Bowl 50 is because of the free agents they brought in. I was like, I commented, I'm like, oh really? It wasn't drafting Malik Jackson. It wasn't drafting Derek Wolfe.
Who drafted
Danny Trevathan, Bradley Roby, Kayvon Webster. It wasn't all the. Take Malik Jackson and Derek Wolfe out of the picture, and you probably don't even go to the Super Bowl that year.
No, yeah, exactly, absolutely, yes. And then take Wade Phillips out of that. You don't even. Yeah. You're not going to get those guys to come in.
But it was all the free agents, though. I mean, the free agent you build through the draft and you supplement through free agency. That's the way it's always been. George Payton himself said that when that quote that I got came from George Payton when he was first hired, and the Broncos have not done any of that. So that's how I know George Payton isn't doing his job, because his philosophies go against what's actually happening. And if you look at the Vikings and the Broncos, 2 totally different builds.
Well, the last draft, the people that are in the NFL insiders in the draft, they were talking about all these different teams and stuff. When they got to the Broncos, they said, well, you got a GM. He wants to go this route. He wants to get these players, but he's getting tapped by John Elway. No. The outside consultant, you can't do that. You get this guy.
And you go and look at the Broncos YouTube and those off-season hype videos that they do during the draft. Where's John Elway? He's in the draft room.
He's in the draft room. He makes the phone call.
Yeah. You can't make it up. Somehow you're some sort of a conspiracy theory when you actually see this on film. Listen to people that are in the draft itself talking about this.
You listen to people in Dallas who said that George Payton wanted to bring in Dan Quinn to bring in the player personnel on the defensive side that he wanted to bring in. And who tapped George Payton on the shoulder and said, no. I want to go to get Nathaniel Hackett so I could bring in or entice Rodgers to come here. Rodgers said no. They panicked and gave up everything, and the Seahawks fleeced the Denver Broncos like the Saints just did, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's what the outside consultant gave you. You paid an outside consultant, a la Elway, to give you that. I mean, yeah. Thank you.
Walking into the biggest office in the building. What's up, boss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What more?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not there.
On his scooter, dropping the NFL schedule.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's all. There's going to be some of this. I mean, if then maybe I don't know. Maybe Peyton is like, what do you want me to do? Is this what
do? Like a control freak. This guy Penner looks like a control freak. I think him and LA are going to butt heads 1,000%.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. I think they already have.
I think they already have been butting heads, in my personal opinion.
Because Penner wants it his way, LA wants it his way, and LA is going to find himself out of here because he's not.
That's the problem. They cannot leave the ego. That's what Pat Bowlen was so good at. He left his ego at the door, and the rest is history. These people are egomaniacs. They can't leave their ego at the door. They can't build a foundational mindset on what they want to be as an organization and where they want to go. They're just talking head here, and that's why I'm not sold on this ownership because there's so many heads.
I think Condoleezza Rice got thrown in that too with that headbutting as well. I think that came out as well.
I think she was the one that was pushing the David Shaw bullshit, and I knew David Shaw wasn't coming here.
Well, yeah, that's going to be trumped.
But she knew David Shaw, and she's like, "Oh, let's go get him."
Well, that was her pick, but she's going to get trumped by these other talking heads. That's what's going on here.
Yep, the class. There's several owners who have a stake in this instead of one owner, and that's
This is extremely important. Again, this goes back to the Saints. This is all Saint related. So we got the insider over at the Saints, and that's what you had multiple owners before Sean Payton came. And everybody was the same exact thing. Everybody had an idea of what they wanted to do. And there was nobody on a single sheet of music. And then the owner bought out the other two and said, look, to Loomis, you're going to be the guy. Everything is going to start from you and trickle down. Then they get Sean Payton, and the rest is history. And then they let Sean Payton kind of run things. And then it's like, okay, we got to put a leash on you. We got to get even more centric and have a foundation for Breeze to be able to succeed. Your offensive players that you keep bringing in for them to succeed. We got to work on the defense. The defense was suffering at that time. So they really had to start revamping the defense. So, I think it's going to be a long process. And like you said, I'll be dead. You guys will be in the nursing home by the time, the Broncos are, in the real sense of the word, are relevant again. I just have that feeling.
Yep, they're going to be the next Cleveland Browns, Detroit Lions. Not the Detroit Lions of today, the Detroit Lions of like 5 years ago. That's where the Broncos are, and I think it's even.
I think they're worse now.
Yeah, yep, I do. Yep, I think they're already there.
And my question really is with Peyton is, are you really just here for the money and telling the front office, yep, you just tell me what you want. I'll do whatever you want me to do. We'll, fine, whatever. Or does he really, truly want to say, no, your guys aren't doing this right? Is there going to be honest headbutting? To me, that needs to happen. I'm not saying that would be a good.
Going on. I think that was going on with Fangio and Elway to begin with too, and look what happened with.
You got. Stuart Craven. Vic Fangio was a jerk to the players. I'm like, no, he held you guys accountable. He didn't put you at safety. He wanted you at linebacker because
that's why they brought Nathaniel Hackett in.
Because
the players, remember they were going to coach themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You're right. They were so upset with Fangio because he was holding them accountable. So we got rid of him. He's old. He doesn't know what he's doing. The players know better. They're young and all this new energy and a blah, blah, blah. And the rest is history.
Yeah, and then what do OTAs? Oh, crap.
That's why I just can't wait till Sean Payton sees this team up close and personal. OTAs.
Wow.
He doesn't care. He's making his $20 million.
That's what I'm wondering. Is this? I don't care. Yeah, that's what you want. Hey.
Well, again, I think they're going to have to bribe assistant coaches to come here because I don't think anyone will come here.
They're going to have to overpay free agents. They're going to have to overpay coordinators. They're going to have to overpay everything to come here. When they fire George Payton, who they made fall on the sword, and that's why I don't defend George Payton himself, because if I was George Payton, I'm coming out because it's my resume, it's my job, and my reputation on the line. I'm saying, no, I wanted to bring in Dan Quinn. I didn't want to get rid of these draft picks because I wanted to start over and rebuild, which was my philosophy coming in, which is what I said when I was introduced to the team as the new GM. And I wasn't allowed to do my job. I didn't have say on whether we hired Sean Payton. I didn't have say whether we brought in Russell Wilson. I didn't have say on what we gave away for Russell Wilson. That came from upstairs above me, tapped on the shoulder.
Even before the ownership.
The heat for all of it. So I don't feel bad for him because he chose to take the fall for it. And at the end of the day, he'll be the one who represents the Russell Wilson trade and now the Sean Payton trade. So that he's going to represent all of that. Even though Penner himself said that George Payton doesn't have say, he's just there for input. He'll still take the heat for it. They'll fire him.
You know how Penner said that by getting on the plane and going to Michigan.
Yep.
That's how he said it. He said it through his actions.
Yep, Penner is the new Elway, in my opinion. He's going to be the GM. He's going to be the head coach. He's going to be everything. That's how I see it playing. And this Penner guy, I don't have a good about him.
Buddy, I warned it. I warned everybody. Here we go again.
Well, that's what the actual owner's having him do, is be the GM. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, where's Rob Walton?
He's out of touch. He's as out of touch as his.
Oh, is he at the Walmart? Is he at the Walmart right now? Trying to overprice everything. Is that what he's doing? Oh, okay.
That Walmart market.
Sean Mart.
Yeah, Sean Mart. Is that going to be what it's called next?
Yeah, Sean Mart. Yeah. It's the Broncos tax. He's going to pass on the Broncos tax to.
Again, they're interviewing Brian Flores.
He's like, these coaches ain't going to pay themselves, mark up everything at Walmart.
Yeah, I think him and the quarterback have a lot in common. Both of them are out of touch, completely out of touch. Oh, there he is on the field. Oh, there he is up in the booth. Okay, yeah. Good deal.
All Russell Wilson cares about is offices, front parking spaces, Subway commercials, and PR hype is all he cares about. So, I mean.
Well, didn't Peyton look like a guy who just won the Powerball?
My God, he excited. He looked all happy and ecstatic to be in Denver.
He's like, this is the job I wanted. I didn't want the Dallas job. Yeah.
My God, everybody was flocking to Denver. I mean, my God, just like these free agents last year, we're going to flock to Denver. Oh, my God, I had to flock here, too.
Yeah, I didn't want to be anywhere they weren't going to pay me. I didn't want to be anywhere they weren't going to pay me. I wanted
to go to Michigan and get on their hands and knees to get Harbaugh. And he said,
and the other guy that went to the Texans, they were begging him the very day.
Yeah, and he's like, it was an easy decision.
No, you better hope you get Sean Payton. Then it was like, okay, we'll give you everything you want.
Yep. So we don't have a first round pick till next year, ladies and gentlemen.
And who knows if we'll even have that one.
Exactly.
And again, in these people, oh my God, we can draft anybody. Well, you got to draft the right players. I mean, God, Burrito doesn't even fit a 3-4 scheme, and he looked like shit. You move Baron Browning outside,
get anybody.
Baron Browning. He's doing that Von Miller shit. He doesn't even fit as an outside linebacker. He's a middle linebacker. You morons.
Draymond Jones doing Aaron Donald stuff. The only difference between Draymond Jones first name.
I want to say this to the bubble man. When you hear these morons talking about all this garbage, it really is it's the front office. That's the front office talking. They believe this shit. And again, this is why I'm wondering if you're really going to get a coach with Sean Payton saying, no, you guys are out of your mind. This is the way it's got to be. And then you get the proper headbutting going on. Or is it like, yeah, Draymond Jones, whatever you guys say?
You're talking about bringing in whoever. I mean, look at George Payton's a perfect example. If they wanted to blow up this thing, they would have fired George Payton. They would have blew it all up.
That's what I think. Yeah.
It doesn't matter who we bring in. I still believe they're going to be handcuffed, just like previous coaching staffs. They're going to bring in players. Oh, like you said, work in that sandbox. You're going to work with what you got, deal with it. Have us win 9 wins, and the next offseason, 10 to 12 months from now, we'll have the offseason warriors and everybody else come out and say,
"Yeah,
we're this away."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me run this by you before I forget. If I didn't already forget, I want to ask you guys: do you think the conversation was behind closed doors with Penner and Sean Payton? Is look, here's your sandbox. Don't rock the boat. You make this right here work. I don't want to hear about, I don't want to hear about big changes. You make what works right here. Do you think that is what he was told when coming in?
I think that's exactly what he was told. That's why he didn't look ecstatic to be here. He didn't look excited to be here. He knew, he was like, I'm taking the money. I'm getting paid. That's what he always wanted at the end of his career was money. He got the money. Yep. He's just going to let the Broncos do what they want to do, and he'll take a hit on his legacy, but he's on his way out retiring. He's already coached and won a Super Bowl, so he doesn't have anything left to prove.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you want me to say this, you want me to do that, fine. That's what you're paying me.
To me, it's a 2-part. I think number one, what you saw in New Orleans, I think is a direct correlation to basically what Sean Payton was in New Orleans. I think what made him successful and what made his rise so unique is because he had Jeff Ireland, he had Mickey Loomis in that organization that got him the players that fit his scheme, that got him the offensive line, that the rest is history. Now he comes to Denver, and I agree with Bubble Man. I think it's more of a retirement plan than anything. I think that, to me, it's just going to be more of it's going to be a mirror image of what you really see. I think it's just going to be fake. I think it's going to be all, hype. Just tell the fans how great this team is every, how long he's going to be here. I think him and Russell Wilson are tied hip to hip. I think that's the whole crux of this whole thing. And again, Sean Payton wasn't the number one choice for Denver. It was Harbaugh. So again, that wasn't the clear number one choice, obviously, because reports have come out it was Harbaugh all along. They said no. They panicked, and then they're like, "Okay, we'll give you everything, New Orleans."
George Payton. You just can't make it up, man.
You could have paid a coach a fraction of what you're paying and still had your first-round pick to find someone who fits what Russell Wilson does, but you overpay for someone who doesn't fit what Russell Wilson does.
Well, I just going out getting Russell Wilson. I never understood that. Well, made no sense.
I think is a vastly overrated quarterback. He doesn't see the field very well. You have to have plays that are designed for players to get open, and like you said, Bubble Man, our receivers can't get open to save their life. And again, you had a system that I believed in. You had Fangio as the head coach. You had Scangarello. You had Mike Munchak. I believe Scangarello and Munchak were working hand in hand, tandem in tandem, and you saw the offensive line look better. Dalton Reisner hasn't looked the same since Mike Munchak and Scangarello have left. You saw the progression when you had a Drew Lock back there. That was a more mobile quarterback that got him out on the move, got those bootleg passes. You could have done this the right way, but instead, like you said, Bubba Man, and chop liver, Pat Shurmur all the way, 20-plus yards. I mean, the rest is history. This team does not know how to build a successful NFL team, and they're not in a dynasty building anymore. That went out the door when Pat Bowlen left. That's gone now.
Yeah, Sean, you just do what we say. You make this whatever's in this. You could do anything you need with it, but just work within this sandbox. All right.
In the interview, he's probably like, all right, Justin Simmons, Draymond Jones, they have to go. And they're like, no. I'm like, you want this $20 million? You're going to have to work with what you got. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At some point, yeah, I could see that. That's the whole thing. And maybe that's where Harbaugh's like, no. I'm not here to be your puppet.
yeah, Harbaugh.
He probably said it's not about money. I need to have control. I need to have say. I need to tell you what you're doing right and wrong.
Well, clearly he has that in Michigan. They're a top 5 team in the country right now because of the offense and defensive line play. And they have offensive linemen coming in this year's draft that I'm high on, but the Broncos won't get them because they're not interested in offensive defensive linemen. They're in the corners. They're in the edges. It would not shock me one bit if they get a receiver or tight end in this draft because that's what they're
or an edge rusher.
Yeah, I got an edge rusher.
Yeah, well, because the Browning worked out so well for them.
Yeah,
Browning and Kenny Young and them, like, they had something with that under Fangio, and of course, instead of giving the money to Kenny Young, let's give it to
let's go pay Randy Gregory.
Randy Gregory to play in a 3-4.
And he's not a free outside line.
Off the field history, injured all year. Finally noticed him when he's punching people in the face.
Well, I think that's why Edro wanted out of here too. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this question, guys. Did the Dallas Cowboys miss Randy Gregory at all this year?
They look better without him.
Oh, okay.
They were better without him.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Edro knew what was going on with the Broncos defense. He saw offenses stopping themselves, and he knows that it's only a matter of time before the whole house of cards comes crashing down.
That's why he didn't take the interim head coaching job to begin with.
No. Absolutely.
Kansas City, Cincinnati, did you see Mahomes throwing the ball right at their interior linebackers? Did you see Mahomes throwing the ball right at their free safety in the corner of the end zone? Did you see their defense was letting Joe Burrow do whatever he wants against them on the ground and through the air? No, I didn't see blown coverages and all this stuff against the Bengals.
Yeah.
That right there's proof. And these fans are like, no, the Broncos are just right there from beating the Chiefs. I'm like, you're not even right there to getting 100%.
Let me ask you this: did they in any way even play the same? I mean, motivational wise. I mean, it looked to me like when the Broncos play the Chiefs are just simply going through the motions. And that's not what you saw when they were playing the Cincinnati Bengals. You saw them scrapping. I mean, just scrapping away, and they were going full board. And you just definitely didn't. I didn't see that with not just the Chiefs. I didn't see that with most teams that the Broncos played.
When the Ravens played the Bengals in the playoffs, was that the same performance they gave the Broncos?
No.
And yeah, was Chris Jones single-handedly destroying the Broncos offensive line in the same way that he did against the Bengals? No.
Yeah.
No, it's like, okay, I got to actually do something now.
Yep. And I think Mahomes is just throwing interceptions just to keep him in the game. Maybe they got the call from the NFL like, hey, don't blow him out too bad. We want our ratings up, so let him back in.
Well, Russell Wilson, we like Russell Wilson, so
yep.
He needs help. And because he laughed, he throws that interception. He looks at his, I don't know, it was Kelsey. He looked at somebody and they just laughed.
Yeah, because he knew what he did.
They laughed. I said to you, did you see that?
Yes. Yes.
He looks at his teammate and they laugh.
Oh my God, dude! This is why the NFL is such a like any NFL fans. I'm not big on the NFL anymore. I'm not. I'm more into college and high school now. I mean, my God, NFL is such a poor product right now.
Hey, we know it's fake. Just don't say it, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
The WWE.
The holding calls, the missed, the fifth down that the Chiefs got.
Oh, yeah, and everybody sees it. It's not like they're, you're crazy because you saw it. No, I'm not crazy. It happened, and that's what they're doing. It's just call a spade a spade.
How many times are we going to have Garrett Bowles clotheslining people? I mean, I have video of other people from other teams showing this, and they're not calling it. Like, this is the NFL is just it's such a bad product.
Well, that's why I say this whole Walter Payton Award thing is just a joke. I mean,
yeah, tell me how great you are, Justin Simmons, on Mile High Huddle.
Off the field.
Kareem Jackson has to do a full-on sprint from the other side of the field to make sure you don't give up a touchdown.
I saw
Side of the field.
that was that was great to just show that. I mean, just great grab on that one. And that's just all the time with that guy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it hasn't gotten taken down yet. That was like within the first like 10 minutes of looking at the defense.
Well, the offensive coordinators all target him, his area. They go. You'll see the majority of passes are thrown right in his area all the time. That is not. It's not a safety that's top anything.
Of course, that walk-off touchdown that was on Justin Simmons' side of the field. Where was he at? Who got the blame though? Patrick Surtain got blamed. Yeah. In a receiver-friendly, you should have your safety help.
And you know who the privileged players are because they don't get the blame, and guys like you, Surtain, and all those
I could see Surtain going somewhere else too when it's
yeah.
If I were the Broncos, I'd be trading Surtain because you can get value out of him and actually start a rebuild around a player like him, because he could go to a team like Kansas City, like Cincinnati, and help them win now, and you can get a first-round pick out of him. But they're going to keep him.
Yeah. Well, do you think that there's teams out there stupid enough to take Justin Simmons, buy in the top 5 hype?
I don't see him starting on most teams. He shouldn't even be the starter on this team. Caden's starting.
You don't think any team is hoodwinked enough to think that? Yeah, I'm not sure I would even buy that either. They know that. I think they know the deal. He's not invited to the Pro Bowl by his peers, so that tells me a lot right there.
But he's second team All-Pro though, paid for. He's like, yeah, I'm second team All-Pro. Who cares?
Yeah, sports writers anonymous, coaches anonymous, players. Yeah, right. But your peers didn't see it that way.
Yep, exactly. And it's unfortunate that they extended that guy. When they extended him, I was so pissed. I was pissed when I saw that they extended Courtland Sutton and Tim Patrick. And I was very pissed off about the Randy Gregory signing. And I'm like, this isn't what I'm used to seeing. Like, I started watching football in 2007. With the first Super Bowl I saw was the Giants and the Patriots that year. And then my family's been a Bronco fan. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Even when they were bad with Mike Shanahan, they were still right there to actually getting in. They just shot themselves in the foot. The Broncos couldn't stay out of their own way at the end of the year every single time. I was 6-0 collapse. I was there for the Josh McDaniels collapse in 2010. I was there for, the Tebow garbage in 2011 with LA trying to shove Tebow out of the door. I was there so I mean, that's when I started. So I started right at the end of Mike Shanahan. So
I go back a little bit further.
Yeah, I was like 9. Yep.
I go back to 2015, according to these morons.
Yeah, I started
during the playoffs.
Oh yeah, during the playoffs, and I can't say barrel man. I'm bucket man.
You're bucket man now.
Yeah. Have over here been the one thing you can. Oh, man. That guy, man, he's too much. Can't even say the things I want to say about him because this is YouTube and yeah.
Them tube.
Yep.
That's why I'm on BitChute.
Well, I'll say one thing about us: we're not reading scripts. I mean, again, I'm going to say it, those outfits that you're talking about. I mean, they're so obviously it's so bad. I mean, it's bad script reading. They're not just reading scripts; they're doing it very poorly.
Does it look like a place
poster behind him?
What's that?
That guy has the Justin Simmons poster right behind him. Like it's
exactly. That had to be there. That absolutely had to be there.
Of every player on the team to make a poster out of Justin Simmons.
Oh, here he goes with his John Elway poster. Tell us how great he is. Chop liver.
Yeah, it is. It's yeah.
It's top 5.
I had to smell the buttermilk.
Oh yeah,
yeah, buttermilk's it's buttermilk.
I mean, does it look like we're in a place that has a green screen and reading scripts? I'm in my mother's basement, for Christ's sake.
Your mother's basement, yeah. We're all in our mother's basement.
Yeah,
he's locked up in his chopped liver dungeon.
Yep.
He's it's just just a big old clusterfuck.
Like the Broncos.
Yeah, like the Broncos.
I wish Hard Knocks would go. I wish they would get on Hard Knocks just to get like some idea what's actually happening over there, but they won't allow it.
Well, they would be heavily edited.
Yeah,
it would be heavily edited.
The Broncos are like, you better not show that. Better cut that out.
Yeah. John Elway, he'll be here. He'll be watching the final cut. He'll let you know what can be seen and not seen.
Yeah.
Well, you know that Elway hired what's his face, Clayton, to brief the players all on how to deal with media. So then John Clayton, before he died, was writing all these puff pieces on on the Broncos. I thought that was.
They had the great offensive line in the AFC West. How they had the best line over the Chiefs. I know.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know. I just keep track of the Mile High Huddle and all these things. I just go on social media, see the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Go on YouTube, after work, watch hear some of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life just being said on these. Like, oh my God, Jerry Jeudy's the best receiver in the NFL. I have the stats to prove it.
The sad thing is because media machine, there's people nationally that think all this BS. It's like, well, if they're so great, why don't they show up during game time?
Yeah,
right.
If they had all this great player personnel, why did they go 5-12 and 1-6 in the division?
Yeah.
Oh,
hack it.
Oh, I forgot. We got to blame the head coach now again.
Yeah. It's always blame somebody else, never the front office though.
Oh no, don't say anything.
Coordinator.
Yeah, exactly. That's the next guy to get the axe. And then it'll be Payton's turn. Then it'll be Sean Payton. It's all his fault. Sean Payton's down, or not Sean Payton. I'm sorry, George Payton.
George Payton will be gone after year once they have their. He'll be gone.
Yeah, along with probably a offense defensive coordinator.
Yep. And we're a GM away. We're an offensive coordinator away. Next year's the year, man. Every year, once week 13 rolls around, you have them saying, next year we're going to be back in it. The Mad Fanatic.
Yeah, you could, because they played so well at the end of the year.
I mean, in Madden 23, I just went 17-0 with this Broncos team. I mean, my God. And this was on all Madden level. I went.
Of course, you went 17-0. It's the off season.
I know.
The off season, yes. Yeah, the Broncos always go 17-0 on the off.
Russell Wilson threw for 5,000 yards, 55 touchdowns, and only 2 picks. I mean, my God, he looked like a fucking legend.
Well, tell me this: how many Super Bowls did the Broncos win in the off season? They're on number 8, right?
No, 8
consecutive off-season Super Bowls.
I mean, my God, I went back and looked at the Nick Burrito draft grade. They were giving it an A+.
Of course it's an A+. They never ever challenge the front office. Never will they do that. But we're some sort of weird conspiracy nuts thinking that they're taking their top
in our basement, in our mother's basement.
Yeah, but they say the same thing when it's the Rockies. They say the same thing when it's the Nuggets. They hold them accountable, but they can never hold the Broncos front office accountable. Isn't that strange?
You got the Nuggets and the Avalanche are actually they player developed and built their team through the draft and smart moves. I mean, the Broncos just oh my God.
And because of that, they're at the top of their fields. So I mean,
don't look at that.
Avalanche just won a championship. So I mean, the Broncos haven't even sniffed third place in the division for how many years?
On my channel, we had somebody comment said, "God, it's amazing the CU is more relevant than the Broncos."
I don't want to be more relevant than the Broncos. I mean, that's a toxic cesspool over there to begin with. I'm good.
Probably, I don't know, but they have like 5 owners, who all want different things, and that's gonna, I don't know.
An outside consultant there. That outside consultant.
That you got John Elway and Penner who are gonna be going at it. Oh man, yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
Versus wannabe CEO. Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna go, but.
And Peyton just saying, "No, you guys figure it out. You guys, I'm just the XO guy here."
Peyton's probably just trying to figure out how to get out of there.
Already.
He's like, "How am I going to get out of here without going down as the worst GM in NFL history?"
Yes. Buddy, you should have never signed it. Yeah, they will definitely give him that distinction. I guess maybe he thinks Payton's going to save him.
Just like Hackett, when the Jets signed him, the Jets were getting absolutely destroyed for signing Hackett.
Yeah, and then find out that maybe the Broncos were the issue.
Yeah, just like Vance Joseph, right? And then he went to Arizona and had a really good defense and got the player personnel that he wanted, and just like all these other coordinators, just like
the Cardinals defense versus the Broncos defense when he was there. Any difference? Any difference in the type of players they have? You know, Buda Baker, J.J. Watt, all the faster interior.
And Zaven Call.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to have that. Look Eddie Gregory, okay?
You're allowed to have Randy Gregory and Draymond Jones.
Yeah,
I'd rather have Harris than Draymond Jones at this point.
Well, we got a whole media machine telling you how wonderful he is. So what's wrong with
Shelby Harris with the guaranteed money? We're still paying Juwan James.
We did target the offensive line. We got Garrett Bowles, Juwan James, Glasgow.
Oh yeah, I just had that on my comment. Yeah, we got Glasgow. And I'm like, oh man,
he sucks.
He's fucking terrible.
The Lions got rid of him. The Lions got rid of him to give Frank Ragnow a big contract. You moron.
Yeah, you cannot get a Ragnow. It's
God.
You cannot do that. Not allowed to have that.
God, these people are stupid. I'm done.
Yeah, we'll see who they hire at offensive and defensive coordinator. They'll probably bring in Brian Flores with his 4-3 defense. So.
We were talking about that. That is weird that they reached out. It's almost like a slap in that guy's face. You know what I'm saying? I don't.
He's suing the trust now.
Well, that's just it. And it's like, oh, yeah, can we bribe you too? Come on, you can just drop that.
That's exactly what's going on.
Even though Elway's still got an office there, just don't worry. Well, we're putting it out there for you.
Even the Dolphins have their shit together right now. I mean, it's just, oh man. Oh my God.
Well, I think they have a quarterback upgrade for starters with, Tua versus Russell. I'm in my head, Wilson.
Tua is what Russell Wilson dreams to be. Like, he's the better of Russell Wilson. And
but the stats say this, right? Broncos Avenue. My God, he can't even sniff Russell Wilson.
Okay.
All right. Telling us that, buddy.
Yeah. It was never Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was never an issue. It was always Hackett. Never was it Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why they had to be. That's why they popped up. That's why these pop-ups came up. All of them saying the same thing. It wasn't Russell Wilson. That's when I know you're being financed by the front office. It's all
different. He never had was Taysom Hill, and he never even became the long-term starter. He's every position but quarterback at this point. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know when these people will get it, but I've never seen such a PR, such censorship coming from something that's not from criticizing a government from another country. You would think you're criticizing a government when you criticize the Broncos. They actively get your videos taken down. They flag your videos with copyright claims, the whole line. So I don't see any other team engaged in this. I see them engaged in trying to get better.
Well, that's what Salami was bragging about. Remember that Slarth and I think Schefter both came out saying that, he's signing the dotted line now. Aaron Rodgers, he's signing the dotted line. And everybody rightfully said, hey, you people are full of shit. And Cecil Lammey was shaming everybody for putting him in their place, rightfully so, saying that the Broncos have put together the best PR machine. Let's face it. And he was proud to talk about that. And that's when that came out. When they got attacked, the front office does not like to get attacked because they do not want to be held accountable. That's the issue. Bolin would have showed them all the door. I guarantee you.
That would be happening under Bolin.
Yeah, a healthy
extension would have never happened. Randy Gregory never happened.
Well, John Elway would have got the can. Would have been shown the door. He said, "Look, John, we just can't do this anymore like this. This is, he showed Shanahan the door.
Mm-hmm.
There's no thing to say you wouldn't do that with Elway too. But yeah, they do not want to be held accountable. And that brings us full circle back to Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to be allowed to hold that front office accountable? I don't think so.
No way.
It's not.
So basically, hey, I'm just here. You tell me what you want. I'll do the best I can. You don't like it? Pay me. You don't like it? Pay me. That's what I guess. I think that at the end of the day, maybe this turns into another very expensive Jeff Fisher era at best.
Yeah, best case scenario is 8-9, 9-8 every year.
Yeah.
And people would be proud of that. That's the sad part.
That's what they're all striving for now. So
yeah, that would be proud to be 9-8. Just happy to be there.
Yeah,
I'd rather 14 with the number 1 pick in the draft than be 9-8. So
yeah, could you imagine the shit that they're going to give us for going 9-8? That's a Super Bowl to them. That's the Super Bowl.
I mean, it was the Super Bowl and the Broncos beat the Jaguars. It was the Super Bowl and the Broncos beat the Chargers.
I mean, if you people strive to be mediocre and expect mediocrity, that's your problem. I expect championships. I expect dynasties. I suspect long-term success. I don't have mediocrity. I don't strive to be mediocre. So
well, I would take it you're probably fed up with the Broncos then.
Yeah.
Because they're none of that. They're none of that. They play a good game, but they're none of that.
Yeah, Madden 23.
It's a good game.
It's a top 5 game.
Broncos Avenue's like, Josie Jules rated 80 overall on Madden, so it must be.
No, when you're sitting there clapping the front office for everything, don't tell me the front office you're not a part of that. That media machine that Cecil Lammey spilled the beans on. Please don't tell me you're not a part of that, please. And then the fact is, you read scripts and you do it poorly.
And again, here's the issue. I think this is a much bigger issue because Matt Rule coaches Nebraska. Okay, he came from the Carolina Panthers. He even said on it was with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton. I sent it to this guy. I'll send it to you, Bubble Man, where he said that there were so many talking heads when he was with the Panthers, and then he comes to Nebraska. They have the same mindset from the chancellor all the way down to the players. They have the same vision on what they want to do. That's what the Denver Broncos used to be. That's what the Eagles are now. That's what the Chiefs are now. But the dysfunctional organizations have all these.
We are. We have a single vision.
Yeah, we have a single vision of overpaying people and sucking the freight.
No, I mean all three of us. That's what we represent. We represent that kind of mentality.
No, we represent female tendencies.
Well, I guess the others represent that too, this is why that the front offices hates it so much, because they don't want to be what these real, juggernaut teams are. They're pretenders. They want to be pretenders, and they're happy with that.
Happy to be there, 9-8.
Happy to be there, 9-8. It's the Super Bowl, 9-8 Super Bowl.
Maybe they sneak in the wild card, get bounced out in the wild card round.
They get blown out wild card round.
Yeah, even if they go past the wild card round, just get blown out by a real team.
Hard. Again, I don't even see them sniffing the wild card because they don't have the player personnel. It all comes back to player personnel.
Yeah, that's what we have to see this off season. We have to see what Sean Payton is supposedly doing. Is he just going to stay in the sandbox? Is he gonna shake upset the apple cart and say, look, we got a lot of work to do here. Let's get it done.
Are we going to have another offseason where there's one good move, which is DJ Jones, and the rest of it's overpaying and bullshit? I don't
know. I don't know if they can overpay. Right now, they're so tightly strapped.
They'll find a way. They got that Walmart money.
Well, no. I wanted to talk about that too. The NFL is up right now, so you can't have a LA Dodger. You can't have the LA Lakers. You can't have the New York Yankees. It's set up. So there is a limit.
You can't buy your way to championships in the game of football. You can't do that. You can't championships. You can do that in the MLB and the NBA, but you cannot do that in the NFL. You actually have to roll up your sleeves, player develop, have a vision, have an identity, and now look at the Chiefs and the Eagles. They're in the Super Bowl, and the Eagles look like them. I think the Eagles are going to win it. They're the better 53-man roster than the Chiefs are, in my opinion.
I think so too. But the bottom line is both are contenders. The Broncos are pretenders. That's just the bottom line.
Yep.
Just
And I don't see that. Go ahead.
We're contenders. I was like, all right, wait till you lose your next 4 straight. When they got their asses beat. They played Cleveland with Case Keenum and lost to Case Keenum. They were running the ball all over them. Lost 4 straight, just like I said they would. And then I was like, hey, I thought we were going to the playoffs. What happened?
Again, that Browns game, who are they running at? That Aaron Donald-esque shit. Draymond Jones.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't make it up, man. You just can't make this stuff up.
Nope.
Well, is there anything else, guys?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, I better. I got a lot to do.
Yeah, gotta go back to your dungeon, chop liver.
Yeah. Go take care of that DARPA dog.
Yeah, get fed that Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
I gotta get back to my female tendencies, man.
Yeah, work on those female tendencies, will you?
I gotta get back.
Well, at least you were vindicated. Yeah, that wasn't a bribe. No bribe money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you got Sean Payton. They said we wouldn't land him. It's that Walmart money, man. It's crazy. Just
yeah.
See what happened. What's that?
Oh man. Oh, that guy, man. Too much.
Yeah. Too much is an understatement. All right. I'll see you.
All right.
Yeah, sidearm shoots.
303 is how we get down here in Denver.
Oh, it's like nails on a chalkboard. That guy.
He's all. I do my dumbbell press, man. People approach me in the gym. They want to know what my life journey is like. Oh my god.
My life journey. Please spare me.
Yeah, no one wants to hear about that. All righty.
Let you go.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Yeah, I think we lost the bucket man.
All righty. Well, you have a good night.
You too. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.